Hey guys, Chris here with Work to Game, and this week we're going to be taking a break in Warhammer 40k to be discussing Legion. I have a couple of friends who are just getting into the hobby, and so I wanted to kind of take a break and talk about what this really means, especially when you're starting to think about paint scheme and things like that, and how do I build a detachment? Well, we're mostly going to be focused on matched play. Narrative play, you may want to build your army around some fluff, maybe you're trying to build towards a specific list that you've seen in some lore or something like that, but matched play is where this makes the biggest difference. Yes, you can absolutely make your own Legion up, make up your own color scheme, whatever you want to do. Really, the days where the hobbies required that you had like a certain rim around, all your guys painted to enter in tournaments and stuff, that's long gone. What you need is a simple three-color color scheme that can span across your entire army. And I would keep your future legions and or marks or whatever your army may have in loose. Is how I would prefer to paint my army. And I'm using the word Legion here because I am a Chaos Space Marine player. That could mean that you're talking about different worlds, different chapters, whatever your army calls it, they're all effectively the same. And so what that means is that I have Legion traits. And in my codex, most of this is centered on armies that have their codex, but for those of you that are still holding out for one, they're coming in the next few months, so this is where most of play is going to be centered around. As we get into Legion traits here, I have a series of Legions to choose from, and each of them have different perks, such as, allowing me to advance and charge in the same turn, and so on. And basically, everybody that is in a detachment picks one Legion across the board, and all infantry, bikers, walkers, right? Anybody that has a Legion trait on their character pane gains that benefit. And now if you take multiple detachments, say I take an outrider and a battalion, I can mark the battalion as one Legion and I can mark the outrider as a separate detachment. You may want to be careful with that because I don't ever seem to find a reason to do it because it confuses me. I'm sure there's some brilliant lists out there that take advantage of different traits for different detachments, but your stratagems sometimes only affect one Legion. And so I like to limit the number of stratagems I'm trying to keep in my head since some of them are very Legion specific. And so that way I know, okay, this one only affects this Legion. I don't have that Legion in this particular list. Don't worry about it. Now the other side to that is your army, like mine, may have another mark, right, where I can take a mark of chaos. Certain legions may kind of bind you towards certain things, and so you'll want to know within your codex what that does. I use Battlescribe for almost all of my list building, and it'll kind of guide you through this, so you can mark things accordingly. I have to choose kind of what god I want it to be, so when I'm World Eaters, everybody pretty much runs Khorne, and so their Khorne benefit is that they're going to have that extra attack on the charge, and their Khorne benefit is that they're going to get to re-roll their charge distance, and then their Legion benefit is that they're going to have an extra attack on said charge. And so those play together very nicely. And so what I think of when talking about a color scheme to kind of take this to that next step is that I don't just want to play World Eater Khorne. I have a list that I use for that. It's very fun. It's very melee driven. But then I'm starting to tap into a little bit of this Death Guard thing and move towards that slow moving, impossible to kill blob. And then I'm really looking forward to trying out some Tzeentch and stuff as we get later into this year. Now that my two lists have all their models built, I would love to move in that direction and see what all this is about because it's doing really well in the tournament scene. And I would love to just take my own spin on it and give it a shot. Well, there are traditional colors within my army. Nurgle is going to be kind of those greens, the whites, the Death Guard colors. Khorne is going to be like really gold and red, and Tzeentch is going to be these, they have yellow and blue Rubric Marines, but then you get into Slaanesh, which is these like psychedelic blues and pinks and purples. And so I don't want to paint my army really strictly into one of those schemes personally because I like that somebody asks me what Legion it is. That's a reminder for me to be really clear about what rules I'm playing by because I don't always want to run my army as a Khorne army. There's nothing stopping you from painting it World Eaters by the book and then saying for this particular game I'm playing as Tzeentch. But I just personally find that it's more fun to go find my own creative color scheme that fits me and then intentionally as I pick that color scheme try to pick one that doesn't totally pigeonhole me into being seen as one type of army. you know, when you get into Space Marines and stuff, right now Gilliman, he has an extra benefit for Ultramarines, and so if you're playing outside of that chapter, you're giving that up. And so that's very hard on people who maybe have a all-green army, it's been Salamanders, and they're saying, oh, I want to run this as Ultramarines because Gilliman is in my list. And so there isn't anything stopping you as long as you communicate with your opponent, right? So this list is running under this Forge or Craft World, this Legion, this whatever. So this is the trait that gives, just like stating your Warlord trait, right? That's not necessarily something that you can tell by WYSIWYG. It's something that you have to communicate with your opponent that this is what's written down in my list, typed, written down, whatever, and this is the rule I'm going to be playing by for the duration of this match or the duration of this tournament. And so that's really it. Where you're going to see a lot of this is on the character panes. You're going to see these little guys in the brackets. And so mine has a Mark of Chaos and a Legion on my infantry guy there, which means I have a choice. I have control over that piece. All the other things, those keywords are set. And so as I move into some of my elite choices, some of them actually already have, they are always Khorne. Always. Khorne Berserkers are always Khorne. That makes sense, right? Plague Marines are always Nurgle. That makes sense to any Chaos player. They are of that god. And then you have to look within your rules, and sometimes, like my guys that are certain god, they actually shift choices. They're elites in my book, but I never really run them as elites, because when I run them in a Khorne list, they actually get traded into being a troop choice. And so you want to know your codex backward and forward, because something like that can actually change. Having 3 elites and some HQs gives you +1 command point. Having 3 troop choices is +3 command points. And so you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the rules, because the game was balanced around you playing by all of the rules, not shortchanging yourself any. And so the last place to talk about this is, as you're thinking about what detachments you want to run, what legions you want to run, is you want to know your stratagems. Those of you that don't have codexes, chapter approved, may have given you some holdover, but you are going to get pages and pages of these. And my Death Guard book has different ones. And so for those of you that maybe play Marines or play Chaos, where you're kind of getting multiple codexes, depending on which direction you want your list to go, if you own all of those, you have a huge array of stratagems to choose from, and you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of those. And so I have one that's used this stratagem when an Iron Warriors unit loses a wound. That doesn't help my World Eaters. And so you want to definitely pay attention to that. You do not have to paint your army to a legion and then use it as that legion. It's a lot less than a proxy. You know, you can have a paint scheme that varies, and you can try to justify it in your fluff, you know, oh, maybe they were allies of this for this one battle and their army, whatever. But for matched play, that's what's important here, is that you pick those legions based on what you want the detachment to do. Odds are you're going army-wide with that rule, because you have an army that's maybe pushing melee, or an army that's maybe sitting at range, and will benefit from that legion, craft world, whatever trait. So I hope that helps. I would love to know what kind of things you guys are picking. I would love to know, kind of, you know, do you run armies with multiple detachments being from different, you know, traits, or do you actually prefer for it to all be one cohesive thing, so that you only have so many rules to keep track of, or so that you can stick to a cohesive strategy or theme better? Definitely let us know in the comments below. My name is Chris with Work to Game. I hope you guys are having a fantastic start to the new year. I cannot wait to see you guys. I'm trying to come out with these videos every Wednesday, so if you have a question or you have an idea or anything for, you know, what I should be doing on these Wednesday videos, definitely let me know in the comments section below, and I'll try to get that on the schedule. I am building my army along the way, so one of the upcoming videos is going to be starting to talk about the next step. I have some Forge Fiend Mauler-Fiends that are about to be assembled. I'm working through the magnetization on the first one now. As I iron out the kinks there, I'm going to be building the other 2 to match him, and so I will have 3 of those, and so that'll be kind of the next building step whenever we get to a building week here on Work to Game. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you next time.
Hey Chris, I really like what you do on this channel, and I want to say thanks. How can I do that?
You know, you could try being a patron.
Oh, okay. So tell me more about it.
Well, I think you'd have to click on the link to take you to our Patreon page and see if you want to support it. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to support just me. Okay. You're going to have to support both of us.
So this is kind of like a win-win. So if they support you, they support me, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Do we get? Do we have like cool, fun rewards? Like, is there anything
I
get?
They do, and we're constantly looking for ways to change that. So if you support Team Brian, Team Chris, just Team Work to Game, click on that link.
Yeah. let us know what you think about the rewards too. Whether you like them or if we could do something a little bit different.
And by the way, thanks for watching this video.
We really appreciate it.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.